Welcome to Run of Show. I'm so excited about what we're going to release this week. We're launching a study with Harvard Business Review, and this was conducted by Harvard Business Review Analytical Services. We engaged with them about 6 months ago, and we've been working to learn from the top event marketers across the globe. And what we learned, and we learned it very quickly, was that there was a top quartile of event marketers that just operated a little bit differently, that really thought about events a little differently, used technology a little differently. And so in this study, which you should totally check out, you're going to see the differences in how they think about event marketing. Now, before we dive into some of my key learnings from the study, I want to call out one quick disclaimer. You're going to see huge businesses in this study, businesses like Facebook and like Salesforce or like MAC Cosmetics. And you might say to yourself, hey, of course they can run, an event program and invest in it. They're huge businesses. I just want you to remember that I've seen from firsthand experience, these organizations, they take their ROI equations very seriously. They are maniacal about efficiency. And many of them are separated into little small groups that operate very similarly to startups. So if you think that you can't apply some of these learnings to your small business, you're wrong. This is really applicable to any event marketing program. So you ready to dive in? What I've done is I've picked out 3 things that I found really super interesting. So let's dive in. So the first thing that popped out to me was a shift towards more hosted events. I saw that if you look at the entire data set, on average we're seeing about 73 events a year are hosted by these businesses that responded, and about 62 events a year are sponsored. So that's a relatively even split. But when you start to look at some of the highest performing programs, they're reporting out that they're actually reinvesting in their hosted program, that they're really boosting their hosted program. Nearly all of those respondents that were the highest performing event marketers, they actually reported hosting their own trade show that got sponsorship. So kind of that move towards owned and operated events became really clear through this study. So that was number 1 for me. So the next one that jumped out to me, and I'm sure this one's going to be a often used benchmark in many marketing planning discussions, is how much should we invest in our full-time event personnel as we scale our event programs. And what surfaced was that for every 4 or 5 marketers, every 4 or 5 people in the marketing team, these programs dedicated at least one event marketer, one dedicated event marketer. So if you had like a 40-person marketing team, what you'd be looking at is about 8 to 10 dedicated event marketers. And that doesn't include your freelancers or your subcontractors. These are full-time employees dedicated to in-person marketing. Definitely something interesting as we think about what it takes to scale big programs. Okay, so I've buried the headline here. The third one is my favorite one, and that is budget. The conversation around budget in there is fascinating. Okay, let me rattle some stats to you that we learned. We saw that B2C businesses are spending about 19% of their marketing budget on events. That's a lot. But then we looked at the B2B segment across the 700 respondents. 29% of their marketing budget was spent on in-person marketing, on events. Very cool. But then when we double-clicked and we looked at some of the top fastest growing businesses that can prove ROI, that can actually measure and predict and drive value, ready for this? They're spending about 50% of their marketing budget on events. 50% of the entire marketing mix. That's crazy. That's really, really exciting to see. And it's also just exciting to see that they're doing it and their business is growing. We're finally drawing that connection between events and ROI and on revenue. So those are my top 3, but don't forget, 700 people responded to this survey, and they're all executives from top businesses across the world. So check it out in the link below. I think you're going to enjoy the study. It's pretty darn good. And thank you to HBR for running it with us, and thank you to our community of event marketers for responding to it and bragging about their programs. It was really cool to read this thing. We ran an HBR study. We're launching it. Enjoy. I hope you love it, and best of luck with your event program. Share this study with your CEO, and she will give you a raise and an increased budget. I promise you. Bye. Craving more event content? If so, subscribe below, and you can check out more episodes of Run Up Show Weekly.